In this video, we're going to talk about how we can use the selection tools in order to isolate or select pixels within a bottom or background layer of a document in order to do something to those individual selections. In this case, we're going to copy them and paste them onto another layer. Let's begin by looking at the selection tools themselves. There are three different sets of selection tool options. Just beneath the Move tool, we have our first set of selection tools, which is our marquee tools. We have the rectangular, elliptical, single row, and single column marquee tools. Just to demonstrate how a selection tool works, let's start with the rectangular marquee. I'm going to go over here, and let's say I wanted to select a particular area within my composition. In this case, I'm just going to click and drag and select this letter P. Now, for this activity, I would never want to have the background of this letter P. I would want just the letter P. But this particular tool, the rectangular marquee, gives me a rectangle, and you can see that I have these marching ants around my particular selection. Anytime you want to make a selection, you click, drag, and then let go of your mouse. Take a look up here at my parameters in my options toolbar. I always have in the first four set some different options here. The first one is make a new selection. The next one is to add to my selection. So if I clicked on add to my selection, I could select more than one of these rectangles. So let's just say I'm going to add to my selection, and now you can see I have two sets of marching ants around these two areas. Now take a look up here. I also have this option, which allows me to subtract from my selection. If I click on this and I decide I don't want all of this section, I just want to take out part of it, you'll see that it chopped into my selection. If at any time I was happy with this selection, I could copy and paste it to another layer. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do a Control-C, or if you're on a Mac, you can do a Command-C, and then just do a Control-V, or on a Mac, a Command-V. Now my selection has disappeared, and I'm not seeing a whole lot here on my background layer. So it seems kind of confusing that anything actually did happen. But I'm just going to go over here to my Move tool, and if you look at the composition, I do have transform controls over that particular selection. I'm going to go over here to my Layers panel, and you'll notice that I not only have a background layer, but I have layer 1. Let's go ahead and wink off the background layer. You can see the selection and the item that I pasted. Photoshop places my selection directly above, pixel for pixel, on top of the surface that I just copied. If I click back on the background layer, on and off, you can see that the P is in exactly the same spot. Here's another great tool, the Zoom tool. Now you know that you can click Control plus and Control minus to zoom in and out at any time. But when you want to zoom to a specific spot, you can click on this tool here, which looks like a magnifying glass, and you can click on a specific area and it will zoom specific to that area. Let's go ahead and wink back on the background layer. Now you might think, well, how do I know that anything is really even there? I'm going to go back to the Move tool, and now watch what happens when I move my selection. I've duplicated that item entirely, and that selection was right about here. It allows me to do something to it that might be different than the background. For example, I could turn this into black and white and leave my background in color. Or I could put my background in black and white and leave this in color. The selection tool allows you to do some really interesting effects. In the next video, we're going to talk about the next family of selection tools, the lasso tools.